Hey, this is Joseph Ralston. Um, week 3 of FTT221, Sights, Optics, and Accuracy. Today I'll be mounting doing a ring lapping lab. Uh, I'll be putting an LVPO on my 16-inch aero, uh, aero build. Uh, yeah. The few things that we'll be using is this Weston scope. It's got the rings in it, as right here. Be using those rings because it seems as though a lot of people have been finding that those the vortex rings that are included with our school supplies have been pretty much aligned. So maybe these aren't as in line as the vortex, and actually get to do more experience lapping better. Be using the Wheeler lapping kit, and I'll be using the Real Avid Level Right Pro. I bought this myself, so. And also be using a few bubble levels as well. So let me set this up and we'll get started. So I've set up the scope mounts and the Real Avid Level Right Pro. I did remove these for the iron sights, the Imbus 3s that were on there. I did forget to mention that at the end of this, you're also going to want to use blue Loctite to tighten down the screws that go when you do your final mounting with the scope in it. Just so you guys can see. The rifle is level, so there we go. Next thing is we're gonna take these dowels. We're actually gonna place them. Okay, so now you wanna put, as you saw, I put those scope ring screws in. They are snug, and by looking at that, I would say it is. This one is very slightly higher, but by barely. So we're gonna take these off and put the lapping bar in with some compound, and yeah, start lapping the rings. Okay, next part is to slip the lapping bar and the rings to be lapped. I'm going to be using the 220 grit lapping compound, and from this point forward you're pretty much gonna want to keep the top ring facing the same direction. Mark it, whatever you have to. Okay, now that everything is cleared off, on this rear one, you can see that there is some portion done, and we're gonna have to lap that a little bit more because it's not enough. This one barely has any bluing removed, so that's a sign. On these bottom ones, you can see that the steel is showing through the bluing, but we're still gonna have to lap these. So now I'm going to go ahead and put more lapping compound on the rings and get back to it. Okay, now that we're back and I've got everything mounted, I'm gonna lap it again. So you can see here, this is the final check. I cleaned it up and have snugged everything down, and it looks like everything is pretty good in line. Next, we'll be putting on the scope and getting it lined up perfectly. Okay, we're back. Have the scope and the Real Avid Level Right Pro set up the way that it wants to be set up. Gonna put the top rings back on and get those snug enough to adjust the snug down to just enough to hold it in place, but enough to let it move to be level. Okay, the scope is mounted. I have the level pro set up. And we're gonna get this started. Gonna need to turn off the lights. Turn the flashlight on in the level pro. And now you can see that the reticle is not straight, vertical and horizontal. So just take it and rotate it until it matches up with the lines. And that looks like it matches up. And we're done with that. Next thing to do is to torque down the ring mounts. So here's the finished product. Nice and I guess I will be testing out the scope in the near future, going to bore sight it and make sure it's zeroed.